This day 1401 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi should be discussed for Am Yisrael in our fight against the forces of evil in Mach Shemam Zichram. They were doing Yordea, Simulation Ches, Sif, Kavches, to Lamed Gimel. Kavches. Beer had void. So we're explaining the Ramah, which we had, it's quote to Shulchan actually, yesterday, about basically, you've ended up with discussing Mamad Shleishtan about transferring money to its Taka fund. The Chov Shechayv L'Chavero. So, where's Beard Varm? I think I did. Anyway, explanation of the matter. The Chov Shechayv L'Chavero, an obligation, a debt which your friend owes you. Ben Mil Mav Mil V'Shtar, Ben Mil Peh, whether it's in a document or verbal. I feel how I live in Modelo, even if the borrower concedes. Varmish Yishalim says it's going to pay Makom, nevertheless, any Yochel like Disho is still consecrated. It's not like an object given for safekeeping, which is extant. The money forgiven on a loan is given to spend. So it's not under his jurisdiction. Even though the Mordechai Paskins that a Malva can consecrate Halva just like a Pikadon, loan just like a object of safekeeping. But Ramah brings it down. Shekain Hevi Mir Yerushem before Shim Ayin Sham, Mir Zan some interpretations. Come, we don't hold that way, the Maisa. Come here, because of Sham, so that Poskim feel okay, Ayin Sham, the Mir himself, or the other Poskim don't agree to this. By the time the reason seems to be the Kamish term Mir Toshagam Dover Shehi Shalol Lagami, and Bashusa Lagami. Since the Torah reason for this, since the Torah precluded something which is not completely yours. Regarded as not completely yours, something which is not completely your jurisdiction. Like something which is stolen for you, or something which you gave us as a pikadon for safekeeping, where the person to whom was given denies that he received it. Even though it get extradited in court, and a kaddish it cannot be consecrated when it's a movable object, it's opposed to real estate, like we saw. So in that case, by a debt which is given in order to spend, even though it's a debt in a document, there's a lien on the debtor's property. Never found out since it's lacking collection. Not even because it's no better than theft or because of the kafre or it's a safe item for safekeeping where the recipient denies receiving it. Where you can extricate it by court. If it's still not kaddish, the time has to go because it's lacking collection. This is true also by a loan. He says, when it comes to my hands, I will consecrate it. True, it's not going to become hektish. He's obligated to follow through on what he said on account of his neder, an oath. Though by commercial transactions there's a smachta, by neder there's no such thing as a smachta. And there where it was based on a mistaken assumption about what would develop, that therefore it should automatically be null and void. You can nullify it, but it's not until it's nullified, it's valid. Ramberg and Sham. Rambam there, heavy raya Yaakov, eminence of Yaakov, Shemar, im Yelokimo D. He says, God will be with me. And for Ksiva says, Data Lishon Neder. God made the pledge that if he comes back home safely, he'll give a tenth. And Yaakov Hashem says to him, you took a neder, you have to fulfill that neder. So too, where the three people are standing, the creditor, the debtor, and the tzedakah gabbai. You gave over the loan to the tzedakah. Sharper couldn't tzedakah. Tzedakah acquires it. Because the whole idea of Mamad Shlesh is effective also by a loan. As explained in Kosher. But when it's Mamad Shlesh, gabbai otovei yirshar adam choshem. There has to be the gabbai or the city councilman or other significant people who acquire the loan on behalf of the poor people. Because anytime you do a Mamad Shlesh, all three people have been there, including the recipient. Become Vorsham, as explained there. That's why also you're not allowed to change it. You require mostly the Gabbai as if it was already given to the hands of the officials. So Shanosa wanted to not allowed to change it. So she's probably seen Rishon Test become clarified later on. If you can't ask the if you say this, the loan should be hektish, why is it nothing? Let it be obligated at least as a nether. It's not true. Didn't say I'll make it consecrated. Yeah, I thought hektish should be now hektish. I thought I know hektish, and now we can't be makdish. When that loves the Masakavanas move on midvorab, this is by nether. We do go after what his intent, but we don't go after his intent. Even intent which is understood from his words, unless it's a nether befiv, with a verbal nether, where he had in mind to, or said, where he said, or at least had in mind to give it in such a way. In other words, which is feasible, which is workable. Now he says something which is totally not according to halacha. It's only though I know we understand from this he wants to make a nether. Words are significant. The final analysis has he yet made a nether. Klaf test. Rabbeinu receives Zion. Rama writes, Yesh Lamashke Chaver is collateral in his friend's hands. The borrower gave collateral to a lender. Mashnega Avaso, that which corresponds to his loan, and Yochalakish can't consecrate. About Mosa, the value above the value of his loan, he can't consecrate. Yochalak, he can be makish. There's something that feel most of the something that even the amount above and beyond the value of the loan he can't consecrate. Period. If you are consecrating a bill of debt, you have to write it and give write over a document on it and give over both documents over to the tzedakah, just like by a commoner. Hakan Lashono, end quotes. The time issue and the reason for the issue is that most like this holds you can't even be consecrated the excess. I have the most African even though the excess is like an object of safekeeping. Nevertheless, it's not like become. You can't night time we had a call issue. It's a object of safekeeping. You can take back anytime you want. I have a most mashka, but the excess of the collateral, give back until he gets the loan back. You can't get my most of so also the excess is lacking collection. Even though you can execute it with judges, like we said before, it's not effective. Actually said something consecrated to Shtar Chom requires it to be given over and to be given over like by a commoner. Evidently explains the Chashmishan. Answer Ksiva, you don't have to write it. You don't have to actually write it down, at least for the purpose of giving it tzedakah. It's enough that he should verbally state that the name should or hektish should acquire the shtar. See, like the Gam Bekdeshus Bisman Hazeh. Does not say that opinion holds that even hektish is not Hazeh, even though hektish is doesn't exist in practice, but still the principle applies. It exists in principle. And so we also go about when you make this verbal statement, as if you gave it over. Shkein Kasa and Force Rav Haigon. Rav Haigon evidently writes explicitly, Sefer Mekam Mecha Shanuva Bainsha. Miharshim explained that I feel robust and she ain't so McCain. Even according most of us will do not hold that way, then we also look about Kimsos Radio even Mizman Hazeh. Nevertheless, Mischai B'Shum Neder. Mischai B'Tam Neder, Ainsha. V'da, you're obligated because you made an oath. V'da, you should know the B'choma Kong the Havi Kilu Mosi Agabai. Anybody says, if you gave it into the Gabai Kong B'Ksiva, Sphere, Masira, such when you wrote it, and you gave it over, or my Shleshen, or there were all three people present. You can't go and annul your vow. Go over Moses, the Gabai, just like where the money actually came down to the Gabai. It's the shach. So to anything where the transaction does not take effect. Such as a case where you're dealing with something which doesn't yet exist. Or it's not in your jurisdiction. Or something which has no substance to it. You not okay, sucker, you may not nether of any of these things in sucker. After sucker in the country, even though sucker does not acquire it, come in there chalav. Interesting, right? It can't be an acquisition, but there's a nether nonetheless. It's a kamo, and he has to come fulfill sheyeh davar b'olam when that thing comes into existence, or b'shus or into his jurisdiction, or b'mamash when it is significant, etc. Ach yochel yishol it's a chacham. In the meantime, you still can eat the nether by a chacham. Lam, if they came with the bezavet sukkah hektish, since this is like sukkah like hektish, the kol much any yochel hektish, any yochel eating sukkah, anything you can't consecrate, you can't give to sukkah. Chein mocha dam still chaber, so if a person sells the field to his friend, v'amar b'shas mechira, mechira says the time is signed. This sudden, I'm telling you, like shekachenu, nimcha b'chazara. When I take it, buy it back from the deal in sukkah, I intend to give it to sukkah. Konat sukkah shikna the chazara, so it's chazara, so sukkah acquires it when he buys it back. As you like you said, because right now, before he gives it to his friend, he has the capacity to be makdish it. So because he could have makdish it out now, he can makdish it later. Since he couldn't makdish now, he can makdish it later. But you say after you actually made this already. I thought no migo, he doesn't have the capacity to make it hektish this way. Say this field I gave with Clara when I redeemed it should become tzedakah chalek. That does take it back. Should be also top because he redeemed it immediately. Even if you left its Clara for a long time, it's still effective. Right now, it's not effective. Because under. So it's underleaning to the lender. That's a shach named the Rambam. Somebody rents a house to his friend. So that's the tzedakah, and he gives that house afterwards to tzedakah. Kontzat tzedakah. The tzedakah acquires the house. The parka has chiyus, and the mental agreement so on point. So that's what I'm trying to call the Rambam. That's a Tosfos. Suvas any other disha waka mitzvahs because you can't be makish anything more than what is considered to be in effect above and beyond the fair market value, so to speak. Lamed Aleph. Od b'Yesheva Rambam. Rambam most explains that Misha Yom Mochad Lunisem is selling gourds or beitzim or eggs, etc. For a lokech, and the customer came, another customer and took one of them, he left. You to make Ima you to make ko achas suvim. If the value of one was set, Harelika much bus as if he stipulated a price. Veda Mochi Yochel Aktish Zazu, the seller can no longer be makdish. These luin, Ashayim B'Shus under his jurisdiction, and because it's principle, if there is a set price, the other guy has to pay the price, but it's not no longer yours. The price is not set. He did consecrate it mekudeshes, so it can't get makdish. Shadayim B'Shus can still in his jurisdiction. He didn't take it as theft, because it took it in order to acquire it, but he hasn't acquired it yet. And so to anything similar. May move on. So for this is self-understood. The Eitz HaLokech by the buyer, it's the opposite. The Eshadamok to him, he condition Mekudeshes. If the price is set, so the zip is already his, he owes the money, he can be makdish. If the price is not set, ain't a kodesh, it's not yet in his jurisdiction, he can't consecrate it. Near it seems it says, I have mind to pay anything that the seller wants to charge me. Nevertheless, without specifying price, the acquisition cannot be transacted. It's not in his jurisdiction, can't consecrate it because it's come with tzedakah. And this is true by hektish, and also by tzedakah, because they're the same halacha. On the base, Hadavar Pashut, it's obvious. Somebody acquires an object from his friend. The Kedisha consecrates it. On the son, so gives it to tzedakah. How know that should will be yada mocher? And then we find out that it was stolen by it was stolen goods that the seller was selling. So she needs to get back to the person who was stolen. To have hektish b'tos, it's a mistaken hektish. Ain't no hektish, it's not about hektish. Feel like the lokech shegazol, even though the buyer does not know that it's stolen. Even if the thief went and purchased it from the person from whom he stole it. We say that it is about acquisition by the thief. The meaning we say Mamachal Rishon Sheni. I'm sorry, not by the thief. That the thief's sale is a valid sale. Because we say Mamachal Rishon, the original owner sells to the thief, calls any rights he has. Nichale Shamur Bemunaso. No, again, the thief sells the buyer any right which comes to his hand because he wants to give himself a creditable name as somebody who's trustworthy. The hektish which the buyer was makdish previously, that's nothing. He was makdish something which is not yet his. But it's kind of mekal, that would you say that the sale is sustained. It's after the gods and actually purchased it, man is from the person from whom he stole it. Not prior to that, as explained there. Lam Gimel. V'day, you should know the possession is by the Mitzvah like Asmachta. That was said the Mitzvah, there's no such thing as Asmachta that it's not considered to be sufficient intent if I'm promising to do something in the future where the circumstances are not clear, or not necessarily reliable. Moshe Rabbeinu says, see if you see Chavzayin like Asmachta Konya. From the Rebbe it seems that there's no asmach issue no matter what. I was here to go to Rabbi Yerucham, but Rabbi Yerucham, three distinctions. He says, Aleph, number one, if he stipulated for an optional purpose. If he said, if I don't go to a certain place, a shave time is going to sit in his fast, or I take out that tzedakah, or I'm going to give so-and-so tzedakah. Havi asmachta. It is asmachta, and it's not a valid transaction. Optional activity. Basically, no dvar mitzvah. If you stipulate dvar mitzvah, you lost a mitzvah plans, you're not going to do such and such a mitzvah. Taking tzedakah, shaitan's going to go give the tzedakah and sit as a fast. Moyav lavi asmachta. That's effective. It's not an asmachta. Gimel l'chein l'adav yitzhara. So that you may netter a time of travail. Lavi asmachta. It's not a smach sham. I mean, the some kan, since here there's no specification made in the halacha. Masha the b'chol don't lavi asmach. It sounds like that's not a smach no matter what when it comes to stock. I feel about Shusim here making the nether on the basis of a dvar rishus. Chay mashma midvar b'chol shemish. It's in Reish 9. Chay mashma. So away from the Beis Yosef and Kodesh Mishnah from the Rambam in Erech Shevi Rai Yaakov from Yaakov, which there's a Dvar Rishus. Well, actually, no. No, that's not why. It doesn't say that, specify that it's got to be, it's on account of that being an Eitz Tzara, like Yaakov Avinu. Rabbi Yerucham lo kosher, my person concerning the Gambit Stoker is just Machta. Rucham, it's not difficult. That's that which we say that some posts can hold that in and stock there is a smachta. Therefore, he's in clause 1. He's saying that definitely is a smachta. Rabbi Yerucham makes distinctions which we don't make. So therefore. Rabbi Yerucham made a distinction, but the Shulchan Aruch doesn't make that distinction. But astonishing is that which it says on Rabbi Yosef and Arukh HaShulchan by Tainus, that means that I don't know if I phrase it properly. It's astonishing what Rabbi Yosef and Arukh HaShulchan by Tainus, where he brings this opinion. Yesh Misha Omer says that those days Misha another Marmayim Loy Lechem Akolei Esha B'Tainus. It says if I don't go to so place, the Rishus, I'm going to maybe at the sitting at Tainus. Since the stipulation was based on the Rishus, it isn't Asmachta. Kanashono. Katamala Bezeli was astonished like him that. I'm going to Google some Kesef here. We're going to have room there. Now he said the Rabbeinu says to serve the Avodah Rabbeinu Yerucham Mishnah Tainus and Stoka. Even though Rabbi Yerucham equates Tainus and Stoka, come low down. It's not going to be. Stoka Bavade Mitzvah Stoka is definitely a mitzvah. Okay, I think they have Nai Hayah B'Dvar Rishus. Every even the Tanai was an optional activity. Come have a mitzvah. And let's Stoka is a mitzvah. It's a twice supposed to sitting as a fasting. Fasting is a good thing or not a good thing. Pasuk Sham Sir Tov Kufal Ayin Alf. The Kamachaitim should say Mein Sham. The passage there that some people are considered to be sinners if they fast. Chen came as La Mitzvah Brewer. He says it's not a definite mitzvah. But Kopayim Shatnai Dvar Mitzvah. We require that the Tanai should be Dvar Mitzvah. Shem Tzedakah Arukh HaShulchan as a clue as posted by Tzedakah. We're not concerned with that opinion at all, and therefore there's no such thing as a smachta by Tzedakah.